Good morning and welcome to another day right here on VOP TV. It's a sad one from yesterday into today as the nation mourns the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari as he dies at 82. Well, we'll be talking about the life and times of Buhari in the course of the program. And also we will be looking at the electoral reform. Reps consider bill to involve NJC in INEC chairman appointment, taking the powers from the president. That, of course, is on our table this morning. And then 2027 elections. Akpabio declares Niger Delta win for Tinubu ahead of polls. Oh well. These are the conversations we have in this morning, and we'd like for you to come along with us as we dissect these issues with, of course, the analyst in the building with us in the course of the program. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I'm Fina Okechukwu. If you've not really joined the family, we encourage you to do so by subscribing to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People Television, and on all that social media platforms, the X.com, the Facebook, the TikTok, the Instagram, we are at VOP TV Live. We have also a website where you get fresh and trending news. www.vop.ng is the website. And for your active participation during this program and subsequent one coming up on our radar, we have a number for you to scroll through. You can call in during this program or send us a 1-minute video of yourself reacting to any of the topic of conversation. And talking about trending stories, one of the things I'll be talking about, one of the stories I'll be looking at today happens to be the Saturday election, the July 12 local government election that happened here in Lagos State. The Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, LASIEC, they've started releasing results from the July 12 local government election, with the All Progressives Congress emerging dominant across the state's 20 local government areas and 37 LCDAs. The elections were largely peaceful, though it was marred by voter apathy, because we have a low voter turnout. And as the case may be, APC candidates secured major victories, even in Lagos Island, in Amoodorf, in Agege, and they defeated their opponent. The party was the only one to contest every viable seat, with 15 out of 19 registered parties participating overall. The state governor, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, praised Lagosians for their orderly conduct and emphasized the importance of community-level engagement in strengthening democracy. He also commended security agencies and the electoral officials for ensuring a credible process, with results still coming in. And the APC appears firmly on track to maintain a stronghold in Lagos grassroots politics ahead of the 2027 general election. It was last week when the LASIEC chairman was talking, the chairperson. She said she's promising that the newly the newly voting unit, 13,000, above 13,000 of them, that they will have approximately 4 security personnel, maybe the police, the Civil Defense Corps, and maybe the Department of State Services. We'll have 4 persons actually that will be there to make sure that that the election will not be marred by violence that we saw in the 2023 general election, where some persons were injured, some hoodlums and thugs were there dictating what happens and what will be the outcome of the election in some polling unit. But yes, on Saturday, I was opportune to, I moved around, in my area, and I can attest to the fact that we had a low voter turnout, the voter apathy. Yes, that Saturday I was like, how I wish. One thing actually is to wish if wishes were horses, beggars would play polo, they would also ride on the horses and all that. But now the thing is this, I was embarrassed a bit over the fact that people don't even know the importance of local government elections. They don't understand the importance. That should be the most important of all elections, because that actually speaks to the inclusive nature of the people as a grassroots to determine or decide the activities that also get to the state and also the federal. And I saw able-bodied eligible voters playing football in their streets, irrespective of, one I even went, I saw the polling unit close by, and then I saw the LASIEC officer seated, security personnel were there, more like waiting for people to come cast their vote. And people were playing ball on the street. I'm like, what is really happening? Is it that they are not aware of what that day should be? Maybe they thought it was just declared public holiday, sit at home, play your ball. Able-bodied men, You know, women were just there laughing and moving. Someone said something. Why go there to waste your time when the election results have been determined? I had to wait in to tell this person, you don't say that. If the results have been determined, these people will not be there waiting for you to come cast your vote, you know. But I don't know how far we're going to go again to make sure.
That's the problem. That in itself is a problem with voters in Nigeria. You don't go out to cast your vote. You sit back and conclude that election, they know who will be there. Yeah. Why waste my... After all, the other elections, the people voted, but this happened. When you continue like that, you won't have a right to complain that things are not working your way.
They are the people that complain the more. Those people that cannot make use of their voter's card are the people that over a bottle of drink, they'll criticize every affairs and activities of the government. Ask them, did you go there to exercise your franchise? No, they didn't.
The fact is, well, another thing to consider is, was there enough sensitization? I don't think so. This election seemed rushed, largely. You know, there were issues. The election was brought forward, and I don't think LASIEC did a lot of sensitization. And the political parties themselves, how many of them took time to educate the populace on the essence of participating at the local government level? A lot of Nigerians cannot be bothered with local government elections. All right? Because they just feel, there's no point. It's not just local government. But that's where the dividends of democracy starts from. Yeah. It starts from the local government level. Yes, the governor, you know, when you said, you know, he praised the Nigerians or Lagosians for their orderly conduct, it felt what readily that translated to in my head was praise them for the nonchalance, the lackadaisical attitude, because people largely did not turn out to vote.
They didn't.
That's the honest truth. And some political parties are complaining. Labour Party, in some parts, I think Jeremy Ifelodun, local government area, complained that the party logo was absent from the ballot paper. And that's the story in some other parts. In areas like Amuwo Odofin, where, elections did not even take place because people that I spoke to said they were there waiting for LASIEC officials to come. But they really did not see them. That was the complaints I got from people in that area. And, you know, these are areas where in previous elections, the Labour Party had, you know, a field day.
Guess what?
It was like Amuwo Odofin.
That's Amuwo Odofin you just made mention of happened to be one of the areas that their result is already out. It's already pronounced. 24,926 votes given to APC. And people were complaining about not participating in it. It was one of the first the result that came out, actually.
Well, it's unfortunate. Now, a former senator and former deputy governor of Lagos State, Senator Koforola Bokno Akirele, also spoke to some pressmen, spoke to our roving correspondent, and we have the audio of that one. Let's hear what she said as she also called for the cancellation of that election.
Your unit, they said they've given them a list of names. I have been to my own unit. My name is not there. There are units which are supposed to be in front of Eko Hotel. They have brought them here to Ajose Adeogun. So it shows, and many people are not able to vote because they have, in fact, completely disrupted all the polling units. I am calling for the cancellation of this election because there's a clear effort to rig the election in favor of one party. Because otherwise, why is it that people are not able to vote in their unit?
Well, unfortunately, that's Senator Koforola Buckner Akirili. It's unfortunate that the name did not come up right there. But, she was complaining. Names were not, people did not find their names. Polling units were moved without prior information. A lot of people were disenfranchised from these elections. And it was a smooth sail for the ruling party in the state, APC. And, there was also the conversation on social media where people were talking about, what is the Igbo conversation came up again on social media. Quite unfortunate that that is who we are as a people. We are divided along ethnic lines, as people were saying, what is the business of Igbos in contesting elections or voting in Lagos? They should go to the east and cast their votes. That's what you see. That's what I saw on social media when I was going through some social media posts on the day of election. A lot of that. The Constitution states that if you have resided, if you've stayed in a place for, I think, about 15 to 20 years or thereabout, you can contest elections in that area. You can contest elections. As a Nigerian, you can contest elections. And in times past, we've seen people that are not from a particular area, participate in elections and actually hold electoral positions.
In Lagos,
in areas.
bring it down in Lagos. Yeah, we know that some people.
But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that our division, especially along ethnic lines, still bites deep, and I wonder when we will mature above that. It's unfortunate as a people. That's who we are. Quite unfortunate. Well, let's get into another conversation. Still talking Labour Party. Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Gregory Obi, has addressed a viral video of him serving food at a charity event in Imo State, where he clarified that the gesture was driven by conscience, not political ambition. In a post on his X handle, he made that comment. He emphasized that humility and service are core values he lives by, not tools for public appeal. Now, he expressed disappointment that sincere actions were misinterpreted by what he called paid agents, and stressed that the event, which is Jubilee of Hope, was not about him, but about encouraging compassion from the privileged towards the less fortunate. Now, Obi further noted that he neither invited media nor shared the footage which was posted by third parties. He highlighted the presence of other respected figures like Cardinal John Onaiko and Senator Osita Izunaso, stating that the outreach was about conscience, not cameras, reaffirming his belief in service as a lifestyle. Well, he went on to urge leaders to embrace empathy and responsibility in building a new Nigeria rooted in dignity for all. Well, this footage that you can see on our screen doesn't look like it's from a professional camera. It looks largely like something from maybe a mobile device. So that buttresses the fact that it was put up by third parties. And you can see a few people moving around him as he served people. Well, some have said, "Oh, he's desperate. You're trying to make people like you." I don't see any problem in all of this, and honestly, I don't see why he needs to respond. Even Donald Trump, during the campaigns for elections, was seen at McDonald's serving customers, serving donuts and ice cream. It's the way of politicians. Whether you say, regardless of what you say, we've seen Nigerian politicians go to schools and join students in eating the food that they eat. We've seen them eat corn by the roadside. We've seen these things happen. It's part of politics. It's part of it. Whether you say he's desperate or it makes absolutely no difference as far as I am concerned. All right? And I think Peter Obi should not be bothered with people talking about him, because The one they talk about the most is the one in their faces. That's the one that they remember. You know what they say about publicity? There's no negative, negative in quotes publicity. All publicity is good publicity. So if he's in the faces of the people, good for him. Good for his ambition. All right? So he'll continue to talk. So he should just enjoy being himself. That's all I'll say.
When I saw that story broke out, I was like, okay, fine. Yeah, it's true. Imo State people, they organize a Jubilee Year of Hope, which was being championed by the Catholic faithful. And that actually was a way to reach out to the people that don't really have, much and all that. Now, Obi said something about the fact that the people or the participants in that particular event were clamoring for him to serve them. He said they wanted me to serve them, and I don't have any choice. And when we were talking about other dignitaries that went to that event, they left before me because the more I want to sit down, it was no, come and serve me too and all that. But now, Peter Obi is one person that I managed to understand to a point whereby I can say that whatever thing that man wants to do, he goes all out to do it. There was a time he went to a particular place in Anambra State to meet with the people that suffered flooding then. And, people were asking, how is he going to get to that place? Over the fact that the place is not a good place, it's not conducive. How will the governor get there? He folded his trousers to a certain length and he led the people. Now, his own escorts, the security team with him were like, how do you expect us to dip our legs into this place? He said, please come, let's get to where we have to get to. This is what we are here for. If you must follow me, you have to get used to the fact that I'm here to serve the people. I'm not trying to, hold breath for him, but, if Nigerians actually will look beyond this and then think about the fact that election is in 2027, 2 years from now, he's not campaigning yet. It's only during the campaign time that you see, people who are vying for one position or another eating agbado by the roadside, trying to hawk sachet water and every other thing and, do some things for the camera. But this one, he said he did not even go there with his team, with his media team to show you how important that particular thing or that particular event, Jubilee Year of Hope, was for him. But yet, because he's actually the man that everyone want to talk about, is a factor that people are discussing every time. Someone actually could still make a video and push. And someone said something about the originality of the video. The person said, I made this video, or that video was made to show some persons, especially the political elite or the political people in political space, how leaders should behave. And then the people in the opposition, or will I say anti-Obi's team, decided to leverage on the video to say, see your candidate is not even a campaign time, and yet he's already out there campaigning, serving food in an event. What does he intend to get? B2B have told you guys that even in his own house, he does not have house help. So I was expecting that someone actually, or the people that make the video in their magnanimity, can go to his house to make video too of him sweeping his house, cooking his food, eating his meal, to show that maybe whether he's lying or saying the truth. But if someone is actually this way, let him be. That's all I can say. Let him be. Let him live his life the way he want to live it. But away from that, and we're still looking at the political space in Nigeria. The factional chairman of the Labour Party, we have some factions. We have the Julius Abure faction. We have the Daddy Usman faction and all that. Now, this actually is from Julius Abure's faction. Julius Abure himself, he went to meet with the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, and had a closed-door meeting session. And in that particular meeting, some persons were like, what could be the outcome? Are we going to see a part where Wike, will still champion Julius Abure to still destabilize the activities in the Labour Party? But though the details of the meeting remains undisclosed, the visit has sparked political speculation, especially coming days after Buhari'S camp publicly called on Peter Obi to exit the Labour Party over his role in forming a new political coalition. Wike, a PDP chieftain currently serving in the APC-led federal government, remains a divisive figure in opposition politics. His meeting with Abure has fueled concerns over shifting political alliance and deepening rifts with the Labour Party and PDP. Observers are closely watching for possible realignment ahead of the 2027 general election. Okay, this one, the only thing I have to say still is let's see how this pans out. Yes, you have freedom of movement in Nigeria. Association actually is also free. Abure can visit anybody you want to visit. Wike also can host anybody you want to host. But talking about making this to look more like it's a political move, let's see how it turns out. How many persons does Abure faction have? in the Labour Party as a team? How many persons does he have? How many persons does the Dinari Usman faction also have? How many persons does the Apapa faction have? You know, I'm not going to zero this or narrow it down to an issue of, a political move and all that. If, for example, now that Abure have decided to move over to visit Wike, to have a closed-door meeting, are we going to tag that also anti-party activity? Because he is moving and associating with a member of an opposition to the party. Are we going to see that too? Not just coming up to say, I want him to resign or exit the party over the fact that he was seen tilting or moving with ADC members. We're seeing another handshake here.
The bottom line is, we don't know what was discussed at the meeting.
Simple.
But there was a meeting held, and they came out for photo ops, making it official. Like, yes, truly. But you said something. Will Wike still, through Abure, destabilize the party? Well, it hasn't been proven that Wike is destabilizing any party.
Okay.
Yes, it hasn't been proven. Wike is his own man. When he started serving in the APC government, even as a PDP stakeholder, he said that his party gave him the go-ahead. That's the PDP.
He told
gave him the go-ahead. So let's just hold him to his words there. But of course, Abure has shown to be a divisive figure within the Labour Party, as the Labour Party has obviously been divided along some factional lines. Buhari'S faction is there, Nanadi Usman faction is there, and that of course has affected the Labour Party, as a lot of people that got into office under the banner of the Labour Party are defected. Because if you want to contest elections again with the Labour Party, as divided as it is, it makes it difficult for you to contest elections. Ireti Kingibe, that got elected into the Senate under the Labour Party, representing FCT, has left the Labour Party. She has defected to the ADC. And, of course, citing problems within the party, factions within the party. So, yes, Labour Party is divided. And, it just speaks to the fact that Labour Party seems like it's dead. Now, in the coming days, I strongly suspect that Peter Obi will make an official move much later. But I think
after the coalition, remember that this is not a major plot, it's a coalition talk.
Yes,
so if, for example, they say, okay, we are giving this ticket, the presidential ticket to you, Peter Gregory, then finally he will now pronounce that. But at this point in time, it's a coalition talk that we get it.
He's just counting time, marking his days within the Labour Party. But anyway, it's all politicking. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Is Abure looking to move to the PDP or the APC? We don't know. But anyway, that's what politics is about. Oh well, those are some conversations that we had to bring to you. We go to the papers now, and after the papers, we get into the major conversation for this morning. So stay with us as we dive into newspapers, checking out the headlines. Plenty more still ahead.
Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning, and for us to take a quick peep on the cover page of the National Daily here, we have the Nigerian Tribune, we have This Day, the Blueprint, the Nigerian News Direct, and a whole lot more. The Vanguard also made it to our table today, and the Punch newspaper. Now, let me start off from the Nigerian Tribune. The story, or rather the banner headline that reads, Buhari, End of an Era. And then we have the riders to that, dies in London clinic at 82. Tinubu, Obasanjo, IBB, Jonathan, Atiku Obi, others pay tributes. Shetima Bajabiamila to accompanying caps back home. Flags to fly at half-mast for 7 days. Emergency fair calls today. Tight security as its Kaduna home. And then above the masthead, Awujale of Ijebu land, Oba Adetona, joins his ancestors. dies at 91, ascended throne in 1960. He was beacon of unity, cultural preservation, and this is coming from Governor Abiodun. And we learned also that this particular man happens to be, Buhari's Man Friday. And beside the pictorial of the former president, we have other stories to be annual coup. All the eminent citizens set for 3-day constitutional conference. Riders to present resolutions, draft bill on new constitution to presidency Nance. And then PCL lacks power to sell refineries, that's coming from Falano. Demands EFCC probe of funds meant for rehabilitation. Nigeria records $5.96 billion monthly FX inflows from May amid reforms, investor confidence. MTLA recovers cocaine from microwaves, lipsticks. Those are the stories on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune today.
And then from the Guardian newspaper, the banner headline, of course, is about former President Buhari. Tributes, reflections on legacy as Buhari bows out at 82. The man, his legacy, policies, health, and controversies. All right. And then the window headlines. 2027. Presidency may use courts to scuttle ADC. Mark warns. Contractors to shut down FCT roads in protest against indebtedness. Interesting headlines there. LP slams Abure over secret meeting with Wike, reaffirms suspension. And also, mourning as Awujale, Oba Detona passes on at 91. Opposition laments as APC sweeps Lagos LG polls. Tinubu, Atiku, distracting youths from nation building. And the bottom strip there, Anglican bishop decries hardship, says it's adversely affecting churches. All right, those are the headlines on the cover page of the Guardian newspaper.
First News newspaper is up next. Beside the masthead, LP faction accuses Abure of betrayal over Wike meeting. The banner headline there reads that Buhari's death. Tributes pour in from IBB, Atiku Obi, Showore, others. Riders to that story. IBB, he was a patriot, moral compass. Atiku, a national tragedy for Nigeria. Tinubu declares national mourning, sends BP to bring remains home from UK. Obi, his person is a national loss. Showore, he left behind a terrible legacy. And then the flag to fly at half-mast as president summons emergency FEC meeting. And we have the pictorial of a former president. Farewell to a former commander-in-chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, waves one last time as Nigeria mourns his passing at 82. And beneath that pictorial, 10 things to know about ex-President Buhari who died in London. Photos. NDLEA nabs drug kingpin, finds narcotics in lipsticks, microwaves. Gunmen kidnap chief imam in Niger, demands 30 million naira ransom. ADC to Tinubu, explain your 5-day absence after BRICS summit. And the bottom strip headline reads, APC wins all chairmanship seats in Lagos LG poll. Those are the stories you'll find on the cover page of the First News newspaper today.
I think they should leave the president alone. Why explain his absence? If the president needs to take care of his health, he should take care of his health.
Did he tell you that you wanted to take care of
if he has to take care of his health, he should take care of his health.
People are asking, tell us what you want how to do. Very simple question to answer.
It's
just like asking my dad, Daddy, where have you been? He should tell me. I went somewhere. He's a dad, so he should explain to the people where he's been all this while.
Let's look at headlines from the Vanguard newspaper as well. Deluge of tributes as Buhari dies at 82. How he traveled to London, took ill, died. Tinubu orders Shatima to bring home Buhari's body from the UK. I understand that that's been done already. He should be buried today or tomorrow. Declares 7 days mourning. Summons emergency. FEC meeting tomorrow. Obasanjo, IBB, Jonathan, Atiku, Oshimbajo, Akpabio, Obi, governors, others paid tribute. And also, some more headlines here. Pension. Managers fail in enlisting new contributors. Resorts to poaching. NGE urges government media to prioritize national security responsible reporting. Awujale of Ijebuland, Oba Detona dies at 91. All right. These are the headlines you'll find in all the dailies and majority of the dailies. Obi, Labour Party kicks as a Buhari'S faction visits Wike. Well, that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines. We'll be diving into the conversation now, and then at 10 o'clock, a newspaper review will now go deeper into these stories. That will be at 10 o'clock. But in the meantime, let's look at the life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari as he passes on at 81. Join us again. 82, I beg your pardon, at 82. Join us again.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on or from giving you all sides to the story. We on the issues that matter, from politics to sport, lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Now, former President Muhammadu Buhari has died in London at about 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, July 13, after a prolonged illness. Now, his death was confirmed in a statement released by family spokesperson, Malam Garba Shehu, who announced that the former leader passed on peacefully in London clinic. Well, Buhari, born on December 17, 1942 in Daura, Katsina State, was Nigeria's 23rd president and one of the few leaders who served both as military and civilian head of state. Buhari led Nigeria from 2015 to 2023 in democratic rule after his earlier tenure as military head of state from 1984 to 1985. He was admired by supporters for his discipline and commitment to national stability. Now, even as his policies stirred mixed reactions over the years, he was twice elected president and remained a towering figure in Nigerian politics long after his exit from politics. Well, just 2 years actually from politics. In response to his passing, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has expressed deep condolences to the Buhari family, speaking personally with the late president's widow, Aisha Buhari. He has ordered the Nigerian flag to be flown at half-mast in honor of the late statesman and directed Vice President Kashim Shettima to travel to United Kingdom, to accompany the body back to Nigeria. Burial arrangements are expected to, be announced by the family in line with Islamic rites. But we hear that his body, information available to us, says that his body has been brought back, so he will be buried today or tomorrow. But of course, it will be a state burial. Now let's go back in time. Let's go back in time. Listen to the man, Buhari.
Sisters and friends, I address you today in my last assignment as a democratically elected president of our great and well-endowed nation, with a deep sense of gratitude to God, a great deal of appreciation to the Nigerian people, and a modest sense of fulfillment. Today, we mark and celebrate another peaceful transition of power from one elected government in our steady march to improve and sustain Nigeria's democracy. This year we witnessed the most keenly contested presidential elections since the first republic, and this demonstrates that our democracy is getting better and more entrenched with each election. We must, as a nation, improve and sustain gains we made in the electoral process on an increment for Nigeria to take its rightful place among nations. Our democracy provides for, allows, and encourages seeking redress for perceived injustices, enabling some candidates and political parties that do not.
I think that was his final state broadcast just before leaving office. Muhammadu Buhari, the man. Okay, a towering figure indeed. Now, some will say in the political space in Nigeria, Buhari saw it all. He had it all, from military, ruler, to
being
in the oil and gas sector, a minister, of petroleum, to being a democratically elected president. He had it all. Fought in the Civil War, he had it all. He saw it all, had it all. The best of Nigeria, I must say. Well, we have with us in the studio, as we look at the life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari, we have Barrister Darlington Agumwa with us. Barrister, good morning to you.
Good morning, Moses and Fina. How was the weekend?
Very well, thank you. And joining us from our Benin station, we have Comrade Destiny and Nabulele, who is a former executive chairman of the Southwest Local Government Council, former member, Edo State House of Assembly, and former president of Conference of Non-Governmental Organizations, Congos. He's also a public affairs commentator, and in that capacity, we have him right here. Comrade Nabulele, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. This morning from Edo State, Benin City.
All right,
the credo of black civilization.
Mm-hmm. I like the way you always start off. Yes, yes, indeed. Well, let's look at the life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari. He's passed on. When he came into office, a lot of Nigerians felt, oh, he was sick, he was fragile, he was going to die in office, but he towered above it all. He stood strong and governed Nigeria 8 full years. The first to unseat an incumbent. Now, but let's, when he came into office, there was the mantra to fight corruption, riding on his his war against indiscipline campaign. And then, but how well would you say that Buhari succeeded, or otherwise, in fighting corruption? Let me start off with you, Comrade Nabulele.
Me again appreciate this platform, but this wonderful opportunity to again, appreciate Nigerians. Well, as a human, I sympathize, and it is quite pathetic, and it is a trying time for us in this country. You see, I was told in the early days of Buhari, when he was in the khaki, the military uniform, the issue of has to do with war against discipline and all of that. To some of us, when he was voted in as a man in the Agbada, in civilian role, we're expecting more of decorum, more of sincerity from him. But to some of us who later, agreed that perhaps those, things that have been talked about him was brought to fall by the late Diabo. Because if you are aware, or if you can still cast your mind back during a build-up to his emergence as a civilian rule, there was so much talked about the issue of fighting corruptions. Even some well-known corrupt individuals, they begin to have their exit from the shore of this country. But when he later, succeeded, it was another thing entirely. Now, for me, I want to appeal, to every leader that is in shadow of leadership today, that power is transient. Even the life that God has given to us is transient. When I heard of it yesterday, initially, I with a wave of hand, I said this is another rumor. I have to make one or two calls, and it was established that indeed he has passed on. For me, as I've said, this is a moment of sober reflection for us across board, most especially those in the saddle of leadership. And it is a wake-up call to the man presently at the helm of affairs in the center to see that it is not eternity.
Now, comrade, when he talked about how the former president, how he ruled the nation when he was a military head of state, you made mention of the way he fought corruption and also the war against indiscipline, which a whole lot of persons have come up to applaud. Now, and now you're just supposing that to it when he became the civilian president. Are we saying, or at this point in time, or rather some persons were of the opinion that what he was doing or what he did when he was a military head of state was able to be attained over the fact that Nigerians were saner at that point in time, compared to when the civilians took over power in 1999, that everywhere became corrupt, to the point that one who forced or once squashed corruption couldn't even hold a glimpse of it. Do you also share that line of thought?
But that's where I'm talking from. That yes, to some of us, as a student, I've been a student of international studies and a student of history. And I was told by my seniors then that when he was in the military, in the khaki, he brought SYZ by way of trying to sanitize the Nigerian state as a country. But eventually, when I became the civilian, the president, the reverse was the case. So
right,
for us, we now begin to wonder what has transpired. Is it that the civilian rule is more cumbersome compared to the decree?
Well, let's bring. Thank you very much, Comrade Destiny Anabulele. Barrister, Barrister, let's talk about the man in office. Some have said he was largely not even aware of the things that transpired when he was in office, regardless of the fact that he came under the mantra of fighting corruption. By your assessment now, how well would you say he succeeded in fighting corruption? Or was his administration bedeviled by the cabals? Because we understand that his wife, former First Lady Aisha Buhari, once cried out that the cabals have taken over.
Yeah, Moses, I wouldn't give Buhari any pass mark.
Any?
At all, because he didn't merit it. Let us call a spade a spade. My Bible says you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Even when he was alive, we are criticizing him for what he did. So coming now that he's late to come and be, painting a glory picture, the person would just look like a fool. Because all he did in office is very clear to everybody. Even under the military that he claimed to bring war against indiscipline, there was no discipline. Because we know what transpired under his watch, and that was why his fellow brothers, Babangida, removed him from office. So, let somebody come and tell me one single thing.
For the benefit of those Nigerians who are younger and may not have been aware, can you tell us some of those things that transpired? Because we're educating people now.
When Buhari came in as a military head of state, he came in with the mantra of war against indiscipline and was mesmerizing everybody with his no-nonsense stand, no corruption, no integrity and all that. So, and people bought it. Before we can say Jack Robinson, he started doing a different thing entirely. For example, when he changed the currency, when he changed the currency to curb corruption, all of a sudden, 52 suitcases, were brought in from, I think, Saudi Arabia or so, or one of these Western world. And the thing landed at our airport. Nobody cleared. It was his ADC, Jokolo, who is now the Emir of Gwandu, that cleared those things expressly without any custom investigation. It was later we learned that those things were cash. Under his watch, that happened. Then under his watch, his second in command.
So could it be that the man himself was, pious, but those around him were the ones perpetrating some of these things? Because the reason, sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
The reason I say that is, I don't know if you've read the reviews to the book just published by Garba Shehu, where he talked about how Buhari turned down, how he rejected 10 million naira budgeted for food. He said, look, why are we going to spend 10 million naira on food? And he opted for bean cake and pap. Basically, ogi and akara.
Oh God!
That was the kind of person he was. He would rather have such a simple meal than allow the nation to spend 10 million on food.
You see, these are part of the thing I personally do not like about Buhari. I'm telling you, he ruled Nigeria with deceit, high-level deceit. He will appear in the public like somebody who doesn't do this, who doesn't do that. But Moses, you and I saw what came out from CBN when Tinubu instituted a panel to probe what happened. You saw, the man even came out and told us that, yes, so everything Emefiele did, I ordered it to.
But has it been proven that the signatures there were signed by him?
You didn't hear me. You didn't hear this one I said, Abi. The man said that whatever Emefiele did, that he ordered it.
Barrister, if we're to point to that, the direction of the former president of Nigeria, then why then is it that the incumbent, or rather the present administration or the present president, decided to handle the issue of the Ways and Means without bringing him in? Because we've not heard anything about, anybody going after him, arresting him, or calling him for questioning.
Look, over the years, Buhari was the luckiest president in the history of Nigeria. All his infractions, all his atrocities, all his corruption were just buried. It was never highlighted. Going from the time of Shagari, what Buhari did at an NPC when he was the first chairman of that institution, nobody talked about it till today. The $2.8 billion that disappeared under his watch. Nobody.
So you don't think that that was because he was not
PTF
involved
chairman,
directly, Barrister?
He
Don't you
said?
think that that was because he was not involved directly in that? Because we've seen people who happens to be military head of state too in Nigeria still alive. They wrote books, and you know how they were, you know how they was aware in the words in that particular book that they have. I'm talking about Olusegun Obasanjo wrote his own book. IBB also have his own book at this point in time, and some other Nigerians also. And they weren't able, or rather, they didn't call him or pinpoint any particular crime to this particular man we're talking about.
Did you hear what I said? I said he is the luckiest person.
How lucky can Nigerian be when he gets a book review and written?
Hold on. You know, Buhari had this tendency of being, what do I call it? Unforgiving. Just like his fellow Fulani brothers. He has this heart. He will appear in public like a very quiet, harmless person. But you don't meddle with him. So people know him for that, even in the military. That's why nobody wants to expose what he did. Let me tell you a very typical example. When Obasanjo came into office and wanted to probe PTF, which Buhari headed, Buhari warned him not to try that. But Obasanjo went ahead. On the 7th of July, 1999, when Obasanjo set up that panel to probe because he received a lot of petition against Buhari. Meanwhile, the sole consultant for all the projects under PTF, under Buhari, was somebody related to him by marriage, a man. When Obasanjo set up that panel, the day that consultant was supposed to come and testify against Buhari, because he had all the document, everything, he slumped and died. That was the end of that panel probe. That was the end. Then when Buhari now came into office in 2015, one of the things he did was to compensate the son of that consultant, a 12th level officer in the civil service, with the appointment of managing director of rural education and other. And people say, what experience does that boy have to be given such a position? Is that not compensation? So all the people, go and check, all the people they were always covering him, making him look good, so that he will, he will appear like a saint. So
are you saying that now that he's no more, we're going to see, people coming up to say things about him?
Of course. Like now, Garba Shehu, during the launch of his book, didn't you hear what he said? That rat story was made up to divert people's attention from Buhari's sickness. You can imagine. That he invented that rat story, that rat invaded his office. That's why he was operating from the house. Meanwhile, the real story is that when the National Assembly discovered that this man is no longer capable, they wanted to introduce the doctrine of necessity. Something they did for Yaradua. And because the North doesn't want that, they packaged him immediately and brought him back.
All right.
You see what I'm saying?
All right. Then.
They now covered it.
That brings us to another controversy that trailed the life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Comrade Enabulele, now, a lot was said about Buhari having a double, the possibility. In fact, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is still in detention and is going through trial now, was, largely said that, look, that Buhari had died a long time ago. And whoever Nigeria was, having as Buhari was a body double. And how do you react to some of those allegations, those statements? Because none of them has been confirmed. Are we going to see some sort of confirmation in the coming
Mr. Moses, to be very sincere with you, as a black man, and from the cradle of black civilization, I agree totally with that belief. Even I had a discussion with my wife yesterday that what we are saying, that I'm a little bit confused, but not that of my governor when he was presenting a budget. I was a little bit confused, to be very sincere. That what is all this charade? You see, Showore some time ago once said, or is it Showore or my brother from the East, Kanu,
yes.
said it, that, and now, where you look at it, And from what we have gathered now, they said whether the body has already arrived in the country. I don't know. From what we have gathered, here we are. They have sent the vice president to London to accompany the body and the family back to Nigeria. So for me again, I'm confused. So Nigeria, see, they are just giving us something to be worried about.
So are you saying that you actually believe that there is the possibility that the real Buhari might have died, and what we have
Mr. Moses,
had in the past time
I'm
was
saying
a body
it very
double?
emphatically that I believe.
What's the logic?
I'm in between. I can't. I'm in between.
You're confused. In between means that you're confused.
But that is why I said it just. I said that I'm not not like that of my governor when he was presenting the budget. He has been confirmed now by the Supreme Court.
Oh yes.
Well, that's a topic for another day.
I can see you're taking a swipe at the governor.
In this country, to be very sincere with you, for us, the citizens, we have a lot of works in our hands. I'm not very frank.
But wait, is it concerning? Is it concerning that those allegations were not debunked? Do you think that it would have been in the place of Buhari to debunk those allegations, or is it best that he just let things be?
You know, at the time, he jokingly with a wave of hand that they don't know. You know the way he talks. That sometimes says, I'm dead, but he would. I listened to one of his outing where he, with a wave of hand, said it was not true, that this is me or him, that as he then was. So for me, I have this certain percentage to believe what they have said then. But now I have a certain percentage to say, okay, maybe it's maybe. But for me, I'm not certain, sir. I'm not be very frank. I'm a realist. Okay. I'm not certain whether this is.
Can we pinpoint a few things that he did right in terms of infrastructure?
Yes.
In terms of
let me quickly say this.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Moses, let me quickly say this. That's why, to some extent, I appreciate the barrister. I think if you try to do comparison, my grandmother will always say, I said it in this platform, when I lost my father when I was a second, I stayed with my grandmother.
Yes, it is.
Maternal grandmother. Then I learned a lot of proverbs. He said, in the Benin language, until a woman marries more than one husband, he will know which is the best. Now that we have this quote unquote that said he's a Democrat, now I begin to give it to Buhari with utmost humility and simplicity. I take you back when the then governor, Godwin Obaseki, was contesting as his second tenure governor of Edo State, and the charade by the then national chairman, Comrade, Adams Eric Oshomole, disqualified him as a result of that. His tertiary certificate was false or forged or something like that. But here we are, a man that was in shadow of leadership, that was contesting against his party. He stood firm. He stood in the side of the rule of law. So if you juxtapose with this present one that said he's a Democrat, I think we must give it to Buhari. And the man in the studio there will agree with me to at least up to 80%.
Okay.
On that part, I would say he has done well in governing, at least to some extent. Whatever you must have seen is on the hand of Buhari. In the area of the rule of law, he came and he exhibited a civilian, he administered Nigeria in the way that a civilian will administer Nigeria. I tell you, some time ago, about a few months ago, I was in transit on my way to Kenya, and some of my friends whose father one time had been a child the affair in this country to one embassy. I wouldn't want to mention the embassy. In the course of us chatting, he said his father came to Nigeria I think before that 4 months ago, about 3 months before that 4 months ago. The guy was chatting that the father has said that this present administration is computing, perhaps it must have surpassed the dictatorship of Abacha. That's the way he put it. Okay. It's from Mesha. The person that talking is from Mesha. That the father during Abacha, he was a child they referred to one of these embassies. So what does that tell us? It's a bad impression, and it's a very sad commentary to us that the man that we said we have voted into power as a civilian, is not competing or trying to surpass the dictatorship of Abacha. In terms of corruption and what have you, you must give it to this administration. There's nothing to say that this present administration must give it a thumbs up. That's why we give a thumbs up to the late Buhari for at least allowing the rule of law to a certain percentage to prevail.
All right.
Unlike what we have very just now.
Nice.
All right then, thank you very much.
Barrister, it's like you have a different thing to say.
Yes, I have. I have. Please, I have.
Go ahead.
When Nnamdi Kalu's case came up, Buhari was in Owerri. I think I don't know where or Abia. The Igbo leaders now said, look, this is our son. Is it not time you release him? Buhari said it's a matter in court, that whatever the court rule, he will abide by it. We said, okay, no problem. Eventually, the Supreme Court, not High Court, not Federal Court, not Appeal Court, the Supreme Court said Nnamdi Kanu should go. He has no case to answer. Rather, the federal government committed a criminal infraction by going to Kenya to adopt him. That they should pay him compensation and all that. That this man should be allowed to go home. He has no case to answer.
All right.
This happened under Buhari. What happened? Was he released?
Now, Barrister, if you are pointing at all these things, let us also remember that, Buhari was named the African Union ECOWAS anti-corruption champion. African Union anti-corruption champion, Barrister. So, don't you think that, for them to actually give him or confer on him that title in 2018, make it so clear that he actually worked against corruption or he kicked against corruption and indiscipline in Nigeria?
It's a lie. The corruption was at the highest peak under Buhari. It's just that APC and the press, they were not reporting exactly what was going on under Buhari. I'm telling you. But we have some evidence that corruption was highest under Buhari. Mention one corruption case Buhari handled and concluded. He even released those who were sent to prison for corruption. Remember the governors? I think Nyame and Dari also.
Yes, Dari.
He released them from prison and even gave them national award. What was he doing with the CBN governor that every day they were having meeting? The CBN governor will go to Aso Rock 10 times in a day.
Now, Barrister,
was it not when he left off, he would now discover what was going on? Corruption of the highest order.
The passing of Buhari at this time, some will say this closes whatever case Nigerians might have been expecting to have against the person.
Of course, because he is a principal witness in that case. Why do you think that the case was being delayed? A principal witness, because he came out and told us that nobody should prosecute Emefiele. Remember when DSS was hunting Emefiele up and down? He now brought what's it called now? Presidential whatever. That nobody should touch Emefiele. That was what happened.
Yeah, he ordered.
Yes, he ordered. Yes. That whatever the man did, he was the one that ordered it. Can you just imagine? Is that not enough indictment on Buhari? And we are talking of trillions and trillions of naira. How do you justify that? But because he's a Buhari, Tinubu came into office with all the discoveries from CBN, from that man he sent to probe the place. What did the Tinubu do up to today? He has not told us what came out. Rather, what did he do? He went to go and pay that money according to him. He cleared that money. Nobody asked Buhari, come, because I remember the National Assembly said, come, this money is too much. Come and tell us. Who told you to collect this money? And what did you do with it? The National Assembly called Buhari. Come and tell us what you did with all these trillions of naira. And who ordered you to take it? Because before you can do that, the National Assembly must appropriate it. Up till today, until he died, he didn't even bother to answer them.
So are we to blame him over that, or the person who took over the office and decided to sweep everything that has to do with the ways and means under the carpet?
We should blame him. Because people are saying he's a integrity. That we are trying to point it out. Because he who alleges must prove. If you say this man was not good, you can tell us. That's what we are pointing out. So anybody who will come out and tell us that Buhari, that person is lying. He left us with, in fact, his years of in office was the years of locusts in Nigeria. I mean, years of locusts. Mention one area that Buhari did well. Mention one area. In human rights, he violated it right, left, and center.
Some will also say that in infrastructural development, he did also well. Some people will say that in infrastructural development, Barrister, he did also well.
Nothing.
The second Niger bridge also was under his own turn. We'll have to talk about the railway construction also that he championed from Itabe to Warri. We also have the Abuja-Kaduna rail line too. And there's so many other things. Bring it back again to human development. We have the Empire that is still running to today. And those actually were his initiative.
Okay, have you juxtaposed it with the money he borrowed? That he built a rail line from Kano to Maradi in Niger. Up to today, nobody has come to tell me the benefit of that rail line to Nigeria. He told us he will even travel to that place if he leave office and we are disturbing him. Unfortunately, he never went to that office.
But that one actually helped in easing, that particular rail line helped in ease of doing business in Nigeria. Yes, Nigeria actually rose from their position of 39 to 10th position in the World Bank ranking, Barrister Damington. And this actually happened when Buhari was the president of Nigeria.
You, this young lady, it's like you want to play the devil's advocate.
No, we're just trying to put the
no, you are not trying.
Well, let's make to wrap up this conversation.
There was no benefit.
As we conclude, Nigeria, of course, there's been a 7-day mourning. Flags will be flown at half-mast. From today, and but let's quickly a quick reaction to a statement that he made. Just basically as we wrap up, he did say Nigeria should kill corruption before corruption kills Nigeria. Comrade Destiny and Abulele.
Yeah, Mr. Moses.
That statement.
I want to, with utmost humility, have some disagree with. The lawyer there, yes. I must be very frank, because yes, he has enumerated a lot of issues. As I said earlier, in the area of adhering to the rule of law, you must give it. You are doing it in terms of comparison, because I'm being informed by what my grandmother told me. That's why I'm trying to do a comparison with this president's administration of less than 3 years.
But you see, some Nigerians. Some Nigerians, it's like we're looking at things from different angles, so we have a different opinion. Some Nigerians will cite the NSAS and the things that happened during NSAS to say that he did not uphold human rights.
Yes, yes, Mr. Moses, you agree with me that Buhari as a man is a man that over time passed through the rank and files of the Nigerian military. That you cannot take it, but when he assumed as a civilian, you can see some level of decorum. I understand the point. The issue of Kanu, of which some of us will frown at it, with the way and manner they packaged him to Nigeria from Kenya. Yes, but if you try to juxtapose with this present administration, you must give a thumbs up to a man that will quote and unquote as a khaki man. A well-trained military. See, once a military is always a military man. But here he was as a civilian. He has some decorum in him compared to this present one that over time we have said is a bloody civilian. But it's here we are.
Comrade Anabulele, can we also say that about Olusegun Obasanjo? You're talking about once a military man, always a military man. When Obasanjo was the president of Nigeria,
yes,
from the time was that, can we also say that, sir?
Yes. If you can recall what happened at OD, it was money humanity to man. What happened at OD was money. I visited as a civil society. I was the head of civil society in Niger State. I visited OD. What I saw, I wept. I was showing one of my pictures that I took at OD. I wept. There was no living soul. There was in some cases the whole family just wiped out.
I disagree.
It was money humanity to man. So as a military man, you can't take that away from them. But vis-a-vis, having a civilian try to equate himself as a military person, that is my worry. I told you my experience. on my way from Kenya that we had some chats, and what the pressure they have with this present administration. It is mind-boggling. It is disheartening. It's a very sad commentary as a people and as a nation.
Well, we'll always have a divergent view.
I'm coming, Mr. Moses.
Okay, let's have you land on your thoughts, please.
Yes, the issue he said about Emefiele. We all knew what happened between Emefiele and Tinubu. The issue of repenting the naira. That is the issue. The issue is personal between Tinubu and Emefiele.
So, do you think? Do you think his passing will not rest the case, or will we have this case continue?
It will not rest the case. It will continue. Okay. This man in the center of leadership at the center will continue. He will not rest it until he see the last blood of the man. So for us as a people, when he came to some extent he saw, but very unfortunately he did not conquer, because to some of us that had
but you seem to agree with him, because he did say that when he leaves office, Nigerians will miss him, and that seems to have played out.
Person like me, I've experienced the issue of from the election tribunal to the Supreme Court. Yes, I'm missing him very just now. I want to be very frank. Now, I'm a realist. That's the problem I'm having. I'm missing him. Right. Yesterday, I told my wife, I said, you were to be this man that gave Edo people free hand to elect who governs them without interference. You can go back to history and study what happened in 2020 Edo election, Obaseki re-election. You agree with me to some extent. So if you can have a khaki man that can become a Democrat,
thank you very much, Comrade Destiny and Abulele. Barrister, 1 minute, please. 1 minute.
You see, I don't like. You see, this.
Barrister, just react.
Yes, I want to react. It is not proper for you to celebrate mediocrity. We are the persons causing problem for ourselves by.
Don't you miss him? Don't you miss him already?
I cannot. I'm coming. This insecurity that all of us are suffering and crying, including in Edo State. Moses, under whose watch did it escalate? Under whose watch? Please, can you tell me? Was Buhari not in office when he was pampering his Fulani herdsmen? It was not in 2016. That Buhari brought our national budget and included 940 million in our national budget to fund the Fulani herdsmen's activities. And when we say, when did all this one start? We all criticize it. He said, it is to stop Fulani farmers' clashes. Because that's how he put it. He didn't see it as terrorism. We said, okay, if that will end it, no problem. Moses, with all the years Buhari stayed in office, did you see one ranch that he built for Fulanis anywhere? Rather, that year, at the end of that year, we started seeing Fulanis carrying guns all over the place. And we asked him, come, these Fulanis, where did they get money to buy AK-47? Did it not happen under Buhari?
All right, Barrister.
Did he stop it?
We've exceeded the 1 minute.
No, did he stop it? You can see Nigerians. We forgot where the problem started, and we are. Can you just imagine? On what basis will anybody praise Buhari after what he did to us? On what basis? Under your watch, your kinsmen was law unto themselves. They rape women in their farms, kill them in their farms for nothing.
All right, Barrister Darlington, this will be a good place to anchor this conversation as we get into another conversation. Now, talking about electoral reforms, reps consider bill to involve NJC in INEC chairman appointment. Let's talk about this when we come back.
Hi, my name is Tosin Mohammed. I'm a gospel artist. Keep watching VOP TV.
Almighty Father, you are the mighty Redeemer. We've come to worship at your feet, oh Lord. This is Ayotunde Adejimo, chilling with you on the Voice of the People TV. Don't touch that remote. You are where God wants you to be. Listening to the Voice of the People TV.
The Bible says we should give thanks in all circumstances. And all circumstances include the good times and the bad, the high times and the low, the times when everything look as if they are going well, and those times when Enugbe, the ground is dry like the sand in the desert. Those times when you feel like giving up, you should give thanks still. My name is Jeff Melu, and I'm a gospel poet. And you should keep watching VOP TV. Don't touch that dial.
We were born to give you twale, to give you worship. People of God, you are watching Voice of the People TV, and my name is Flo Rocker. I encourage you to listen to things of the gospel. You know, we live in a very perilous times where there are some things you watch on television, you will lose faith, you will lose God. Keep your eyes on Voice of the People TV and remain blessed. Flo Rocker says so. Kuzoshi.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows from the People's Voice, where we get to amplify the stories and concerns of everyday Nigerians to hashtag.
To Health Check, where we share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers, we dissect issues on port operations and more.
Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport, from the top to the finish. Just be with us, stay with us all of the time. We give you sporting activities just as you unfold, and that's what we do, and that's why we are called Voice of the People TV, and you already know.
We got you all covered.
Here, you have more than a voice.
Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. The House of Representatives Committee on Constitutional Review is considering a bill to amend the Constitution and reform the process of appointing the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The proposed amendment seeks to involve the National Judicial Council, NJC, in the selection process, aiming to boost the independence, credibility, and transparency of INEC appointments. This move aligns with the 2007 recommendations of the Electoral Reform Committee, led by late Chief Justice Muhammadu, which called for reduced executive influence in INEC. Former INEC Chairman Professor Tahiru Jega hailed the proposal as a step in the right direction, saying it would help remove political pressure and ensures free and also fairness in the upcoming elections. And then we have with us in the studio, or rather we have with us joining us from Benin, we have Comrade Inabulele, Comrade Destiny Inabulele join us, and also from Port Harcourt to have Bishop Dr. Ebiokun Gospel Bob Manuel, who is a public affairs analyst and the former National Vice President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, join us to help analyze today's this particular conversation. Thank you so much, Comrade Destiny, for still being part of us.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Bishop Bob Manuel. All right, now, Comrade, let me start off with you. This is not the first time we're getting this particular talk within the state or the House of Representatives. It first made it to the table in 2007, where there was this recommendation about electoral reforms, led by a particular Justice Muhammadu, saying that Nigeria need to take out or move away from giving the president a position of appointing the INEC chairman, citing the fact that that electoral umpire needs to be independent on its own. And also they talked about the influence of political figures or politicians when they are the ones that elect or appoint the INEC chairperson. What do you have to say about this, about the fact that this particular statement was submitted again to the table, and the fact that the only people that they are looking forward to handing over the sole responsibility of getting or appointing the new INEC chairperson is the National Judicial Council? How or what do you have to say about this? What's your broader view on this particular one?
Well, Madam Joy, let me again appreciate you. To my mind, it is a welcome development, if indeed we are sincere. Please underline the issue of sincerity, of purpose. It's a very sacrosanct at this particular point in time. Be rest assured, let me quickly say this, that the present man in the center will not allow that, perhaps after his re-election in 2027, perhaps. It will not, and it will not skate through. You can take that to the bank. And we'll come back here to discuss the issue. Because as we speak very just now in this country, what we need is the electoral reform, if we must be sincere to ourselves. No electoral reforms, no 2027. If you don't expect a fantastic or anything election in the name of election in 2027, that is the gospel truth. Because they map out strategies on how to undo and unleash the arsenals on anything that want to stand as opposition. Anything, underline again, anything. If it is movable or immovable, anything. Because from what we have seen or what we have gathered, it is difficult to prove, ringing in the law court.
Now, you made mention of that being a good word, or rather a good step in the right direction. Can we say in Nigeria that the NJC at this point in time, is non-partisan in Nigerian politics? Can we actually say that we're looking at the National Judicial Council, given the fact that sometime also we've seen the influence of the executive now in appointing who the new NJC will be? Recall what happened or what played out, with this present NJC, where we learned that because of the fact or the role she played in the Imo State election that was concluded on the electoral tribunal and all that within the Supreme Court and all that. Now she was denied visa on the notion of corruption and all that, but she became the new NJC representing Nigeria Judicial Council. Can we say that there will not be any activities or infiltration of the executive in that particular decision?
I was gradually gravitating towards the NJC and what it all entails. The NJC is not that better than the INEC, with utmost humility. Because what is happening in INEC is equally happening in NJC across the length and breadth, the rank and file of the Judicial Council, with utmost humility. As we speak very just now, what we have in the judiciary, it is better imagined. I told you, I said, we just passed through from the lower to the appeal to the Supreme. Indeed, we saw, and be rest assured that as a people, we conquered, despite that they've had, have their way of manipulating the system. It was manipulated. There's no need begging the question for answer. It was seriously manipulated. Because a situation where the president word or command now become law, there's cause for concern. A situation where they will not say, would president allow people to have justice? There's a problem.
All right, I'm
coming.
All right.
You see, there's a saying that the law is what the court say it is. The law is what the court say it is. And that's what we've experienced. And now they've set another precedent. They have ruled themselves, they've ruled against themselves again in the Supreme Court. Ordinarily, it ought to be the last hope of the common man, the judiciary. But I tell you, the reverse is the case.
Do you think that with the involvement of the NJC or the Judicial Council in this selection process of the new INEC chairman, do you think it's in any way going to help to redeem the trust and hope of common men now in our judicial system?
Another thing we need to ask ourselves, are the judiciary, are they independent? If they are independent, good and well. But as you and I speak very just now, there's nothing like independency in the judiciary. So there's a problem. If you say that with this charade, with this composition, with this status of NJC to now elect or appoint who becomes the national chairman of the INEC.
All right.
My dear sister and brother, is the same story.
All right.
It's the same story.
Comrade Destiny, we seem to have exonerated the Senate in all of this because we know the role that the National Assembly, the Senate, plays in appointment of INEC officials and basically appointments of individuals. Because, I mean, the Constitution states that the President will present a name to the Senate and they will have to approve or not approve. But let's x-ray the Senate in times past in the role that they have played. Would you justify the role of the Senate in appointments of appointees? Are they doing due diligence when it comes to vetting, checking out competence, ensuring that whoever is appointed is not partisan? How well have we fared in that area? And what can be done differently, especially
Mr. Moses,
ensuring that whoever is appointed to chair INEC will not be partisan? Go ahead.
Mr. Moses, let me be very frank with you. With this present, what do they call it? The 10th Assembly, whether the Senate or the reps, permit me, they are all glorified errand boys with utmost humility. Because over time, if I try to cast your mind back during Obasanjo, when he was trying to, come back as a telltale, you saw what happened with the then, men of valor, men of integrity, men that are true to their words, men that can call a spade, and not otherwise. They stood and they defended Nigerians, and Nigeria had not had their way. The issue between Yaradua and Jonathan that brought about the doctrine of necessity. It's all men. They came and they defended the people and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and they had their way. You saw jokingly, I listened to one, I don't know whether it's a comedy, that if this present man in the M of affair want to have a life presidency, that from this present crop, the 10th Assembly, that he don't see anything them going against this present leadership. That is the gospel truth. That is the gospel truth. Because what we have there right now, in the hallowed chamber, in the very sacred chamber, on your mandate we shall stand. What does that tell you? You don't need an oracle. You don't need imam. You don't need pastor. And you don't need to fast and pray about it. Your guess is as good as mine. So for me, I don't see anything fantastic or near good coming out of this 10th Assembly.
Okay.
With utmost humility.
But you think that the involvement of the NJC is going to help restore normalcy, if they are to join in the selection of the chairman or INEC chairman?
It will, if they are independent.
Now you're talking about them being independent. Do you think that they are going to be independent in Nigeria? Do you think that NJC is independent?
Sorry?
Do you think that NJC is independent?
They are not independent as we speak very just now. I told you earlier, I said they are not. I just passed through. I said we saw. I'm putting up a book. What we saw, it is an I saw. You see, for me, Nigeria should not expect anything fantastic from the judiciary and the INEC of today.
Comrade.
There are so many clauses, chapters they need to expunge. They need to, not the issue of who becomes the chairman. That is not the bone of contention.
Okay.
And that's not the pain of us having, a seamless and a sincere process.
So what's the issue? What's the issue? What are the issues really?
The issue is bigger than who becomes the chairman.
So what are the issues?
See, one, we must have an electronic system where I vote in my unit in Ovia Southwest, Ward 1, Unit 1, and immediately go to the server at the IRF. As I speak with you, Mr. Moses, the Edo September 24, 2024, September 21st election is still on the IRF. I will beg Nigerians to go do the collation and see who wins. But the result they announced is different. So you want the chairman to do the magic. When our constitution, the electronic transmission is not known to our constitution, there's a problem. So with utmost humility, I'm a Christian. If you bring our Lord Jesus Christ to man that INEC as to speak, my brother, his reverence will diminish.
All right, comrade.
With utmost humility.
So you're moving it away from the appointment of the chairman of INEC. That's not, according to you, that's not the solution to the problem. But Nigerians have largely said that, look, if the executive continues, if the president continues to be the one to appoint the chairman of INEC, he would have some sort of influence over the activities of the chairman of INEC. And now the NJC, there's a proposal to amend the constitution in such a way that the NJC will be the one to appoint. But some Nigerians also have a problem with the NJC because the president still appoints the chief judge. And basically, the chief judge appoints those that are part of the NJC. But what is the solution? Aside from equipment working, which is what you've pointed to, the viability of equipment, the IREV, the BVAS, and the rest. What other solution would you say will bring succor to Nigerians and give Nigerians faith to cast their votes, knowing that truly their votes will count?
Okay, Moses, back to me.
Yes.
Okay, you see, as I have said earlier, we must look at it clause by clause, chapter by chapter. I have just to prove the issue of electoral fraud in the judiciary or in the election tribunal. It is cumbersome because what we have presently is not known to the constitution. The constitution is the ground law. So for us to succeed, we must have it have a detailed, overhaul of the system. I mentioned one, that the issue of, voting in my unit, electronic transmission, so that whoever, as we vote within hours, will know the winner, not the one waiting for INEC. INEC will just be to confirm or the formality to conclude the formality of the process. It must be electronically transmitted. As you vote in various units, then you go to the RAC, which is the local government. Then you proceed to the state. So with all of this, as we speak very just now, it's not known to our law. So it is very difficult to have the process. And again, you look at the Electoral Act, for instance, that has to do with the non-serialization, the recording of sensitive materials. Again, the INEC must be able to prove. The INEC, you see, a situation where I have been cheated during the electoral process, going there and again INEC to the back door, giving results to my opponent. And when INEC has called upon, it is either you subpoena or, so to speak, knowing fully well when they are part of the suit. So there's a fundamental problem. There's a certain situation where INEC is completely out of the process. All they need to do is passive in the process, which ordinarily they ought to have been in the forefront of the electoral process. I would be the umpire, the referee of the match.
All right, then.
If, for instance, there is a misunderstanding between football A and football B in a match, it is the duty of the referee to come to say that, yes, I ref this match, and this is exactly what transpired. Right. In the case of the electoral process, it's not like that. INEC is completely, not in the picture or passively in the picture. So for us, we must go back to the drawing board. That the issue of bringing in or who appoints, even if contractual humility, our traditional rulers appoint who becomes the INEC, it will be lacking that if you decide to use a bleach to wash the anus, if you put your finger in the anus, it must definitely smell. There must be a very offensive odor. It will be lacking to that. So who becomes the chairman is not a process. We must have a strong institution rather than having a strong man. If we have a strong institution, if any of the 80s reincarnate and preside over that, this thing, it will become a sect. That is my point. But especially when you have this present system and you want to decide to bring a sect, it will be worse than the enemy of the.
All right. So, from what you're saying, it's bad either way. Either way you look at it, it's
exactly,
bad.
Sir. It's very bad.
So there's no way forward. Okay. All right then. Well, let's wrap up this conversation. We'd like for you to stay with us as we will be looking at statements made by Akpabio. Akpabio has declared Niger Delta a win for Tinubu ahead of 2027 polls. Do you agree? You're chuckling already. Well, let's have this conversation when we come back. Join us again.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. We'll start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Well, Senate President Godswill Akpabio has assured that President Bola Tinubu will not face the same political fate as former President Goodluck Jonathan in 2027, declaring full support from the Niger Delta region. Speaking at the 25th anniversary of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, in Port Harcourt, Akpabio warned against any plot to unseat Tinubu, citing the president's commitment to the region through impactful projects such as new universities in Ogoni and Okerenkoko. He stressed that no president has invested more in the Niger Delta and that the region, which produces the nation's wealth, would resist any attempt to sideline its interest. Akpabio, who once served as Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, also praised the current NDDC management under Dr. Samuel Ogbuku for upholding the Commission's vision and ensuring continuity. Former President Jonathan, who attended the event, commended Tinubu for retaining the current NDDC board, calling it a step towards sustainable development, were represented by SGF George Akume. That's the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. President Tinubu reaffirmed his commitment to the Niger Delta and highlighted the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway as a key infrastructure project to drive regional economic growth. We still have with us Honorable Comrade Destiny Enabulele. Comrade, now, statements like this coming from a sitting Senate President, is it concerning to you that Senate President Godswill Akpabio is making statements like this, that the President will not have, the President will have a smooth sail in 2027? Should this be concerning?
Mr. Moses,
sir,
it is not just concerning, it is quite disheartening and regrettably lugubrious that a Senate President, perhaps he has forgotten, it's not just the Senate President of the APC, it's the Senate President of Nigeria and Nigerians. For you to say warn against, with utmost humility, who is he to warn? You can't compel me or a voter to vote for your candidate. You must persuade. You must romance. You must put forward why the electorate should embrace your party or your candidate. You can see what is happening. You can see what is happening across the length and breadth, nooks and crannies of this country, coercing, forcing and intimidating Nigerians to join their party. That's to tell you that, I said it earlier, they have everything mapped out. They have everything mapped out. Nigerians must be at alert. They must keep night vigil towards 2027. You must take that to the bank. Nigerians must keep, if they want this country to succeed, perhaps to have a path towards Eldorado.
The projects carried out by NDDC within the region, the activities of NDDC within the region, is that enough to campaign with? Is it enough to say, look, because the president has retained the NDDC board, and with the president's support, NDDC has done this and that, then the people must, because, if you look at the words of Akpabio, warning against any plot to unseat the president, if you cite the actualization of projects, Goniland, schools, and then Okerenkoko, are these enough to say, look, this administration must remain in power?
Mr. Moses, you are a father and you are a husband. If in your house you are doing well, your children's school fees is being paid and your wife is getting some stipends as and when due, you don't need to coerce, to bring out the whip, to command your children to obey you. I'm a father. I know exactly what I'm using. My small family unit will later cascade to the society and whatever. There is nothing to show with utmost humility. The coastal, what they call, that is another conduit pipe, money reserve for 2027 election. And you've heard that the former president once said that, Olusegun Obasanjo, that in preparing for an election, you must have at least 3 states. No, 4. I will tell you the fourth one.
Okay.
Lagos State, Rivers, then Kano, and again, the CBN. You must have those states. I included CBN.
Okay.
And come up with a very, gigantic project, a conduit pipe project. The coastal region, or the coastal line, I don't know what it's being called. I only been there once.
Calabar Coastal Highway.
Yeah, call it whatever name. It's another conduit pipe jet towards financing 2027 election. You can take that to the bank. We will be here after 2027 election to look at the progress of the coastal road. Highway. So for us, it is pathetic at this point for you, knowing fully well that you are doing well, to begin to coerce, to begin to force the people to love you. Love is not by force.
But the former president also applauded this present administration, over the work that he's doing there in the Niger Delta region. I'm talking about good-looking Bello Jonathan. Bello Jonathan also, championed or rather applauded the president, for his work, good work in that region.
Mr. Joy, Madam Joy, sorry. Let me quickly say this. The former president Jonathan is a man that I love so much. But his recent, I like your team, permit me, with the presidency or the man in the presidency, I have to redefine my likeness. Perhaps it's not far-fetched why he's doing I like your team with the president and the people in the presidency. You've heard, it's not last week here, that the ICPC has some property or estate or some or land belong to him has been. So I wouldn't want to go into all that. So we all know where, those sorting,
all right,
likeness is
first,
coming from.
Okay.
I'm coming, sir. Let me try to round up with this.
All right.
Perhaps you've heard not too long in the state a bid up to Supreme Court judgment that the state it has hosted two APC national summits, the regional and the South Summit. So that what does that tell you? And the governor boasted that he will provide or make available 2.5 million votes. Again, what is the vote strength in the register? Try to look at how many voters showed up in every election. In his own election and that of this, put together, it's not worth to 600,000 votes. In the previous one, plus minus, not up to 720 votes, all put together. And here you are. So that is what they want to achieve. They want to coerce many governors as possible, so that in the day of election, they can go ahead and unleash their arsenal on the people and write results.
No, comrade, now let's not forget about where this statement was made. I also know that Edo happens to be a member of this NDDC, that's the Niger Delta Development Commission. Now, are you as a person who should be benefiting from that commission now saying that you're not seeing anything at all that this president or this president is doing in that region that can warrant his re-election in 2027?
Madam Joy, I'm disturbed with this question. I must be very frank. In the last few months, I've not stepped my foot or feet out of this country. I can't. And there's not, I can't. I'm not blind. There's nothing to show. You are a journalist. You have an outfit in here. Let them go out. Let them go out. Perhaps you have some list of the projects ongoing. You've heard when with utmost humility, when the former president, the present president of the Senate, when he was the minister for NDDC, he had almost a physical feast with a woman as a result of how he instructed the woman to
Yeah, his conduct.
Well, how he instructed the woman to do a transfer to a certain account in the Electoral Center. NDDC is a conduit pipe for those in presidency. We have had a series of revelations. Even not too long ago, even the man that I respect so much, the man in FCT now, Wike, said that previously that they were paying certain billions to former Minister of Works, the wife, about 4.something billion to the wife's account for women training and all of that. You know, a place you use 4.something at a goal to train women. For crying out loud. The women in the region by now would have been all, you know, business women and entrepreneurs. But what do we have? Our women are there in the villages, selling oil and kerosene along the roads. There's nothing to show for it. I think it's in the youth. You've heard not too long ago what is happening in the Delta State, for instance. Last week here, there have been a series of killings. Because an adult's mind is the devil's workshop. I've told whoever care to listen. If I fail to work during the day, you can't stop me from working during the night.
All right.
You know what that means?
All right, then.
That's exactly what
from your comments, it's obvious that you do disagree with the statement made by Godswill Akpabio, Senator Godswill Akpabio, about the president having a smooth sail in the Niger Delta. Well, thank you very much, honored comrade Destiny Anabolele. But I must correct something. My colleague here is Fina Okechukwu and not Joy. But you kept calling her Joy. Maybe she gives you joy, but that's fine. That's fine. Thank you very much, Comrade Destiny.
For the mix-up.
That's okay. Thank you very much once again, Comrade Destiny Anabolele, former executive chairman of the Southwest Local Government Council, former member, Edo State House of Assembly, and former president of Conference of Non-Governmental Organization, Congos, a public affairs analyst and a political analyst, and also a businessman. A father, we must add. Thank you once again for coming on the program. Well, that's it on the show today. Big thanks on behalf of my colleagues, Fina Okechukwu. I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.